All right, so this is the market update for the upcoming week. First week of April. So a lot of times the reversals and trend reversals kind of happen at the beginning of the month. It's weird. I don't know exactly why that is, but just a heads up. Recently, my portfolio is kind of getting banged up because I am short a lot of things. Okay, so I've been getting kind of banged up, but yeah, as soon as I started looking for like a recount, like a count to the upside, maybe I got my count wrong. The more confidence I got that it is going to come back down. Obviously, this week will be a huge part in that. So, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and then I can just kind of flip to the upside and be all good and dandy. But I just want to kind of show my thinking behind why I like the downside so much. So this is the S&P 500, and actually it was on the monthly. Well, this is the 2-month, okay? So this was my original count of how I was going about counting this stock market. So obviously I have my 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 for my wider one, with the fourth wave is what I'm anticipating that we're on. Okay, so the fourth wave, and I know it's kind of a little bit messed up, but it's my A, B, and then my C too close to the fourth wave of my lesser count. So this is my anticipation. I really like these wicks to the downside. Okay, because what that is kind of saying is a lot of pressure is building up to where it comes down, it snaps back up, and then it meets a wall of sellers where it won't really go much higher. So I still like it. I like the price action, and obviously can't really trade the 2-month, but yeah, I do think that this C wave is coming. And so let's go back to the daily. So this is my flag that I like right here. This is where I would like to see it not break, okay? And my main count is on the Qs right now of how I'm kind of judging the market. But so just look at this. So if you read any trading book whatsoever, if this one holds, we now have a head and shoulders, right? So there would be your neckline. So then you take this, go like that, and then you'd be at your fifth. So I do think that this is coming down. Obviously it doesn't have to. It can kind of do whatever it wants, but I am happy with my downward count of being I'm gonna get rid of my upside count. Okay, so now we're just left with the downside. So how would this make sense to be a downside? So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that works out because your 3 is not the smallest. 1 it would be the smallest. So this is still a valid count. And where's my so then it would be, this would be your fifth here would be your wave 1. Okay, so then what are we doing right here? Well, our wave 2 needs to be a zigzag, which is an A, B, C, okay, to the upside, right? And we can't break this pivot. So this pivot is super important. If this holds, awesome. If it doesn't, we need to kind of rethink what's going on, right? So then obviously your 3 would then come over here, 4 would bounce over, 5 would bounce over, and then we have to kind of see if this is a 1 or a 1 of the C wave, or if this is actually like an ABC, or if this is the whole deal right here. So if this 5 is the C wave in it entirely. Okay, so that's kind of the plan for the S&P 500, but I've been relying heavily on the Qs. So let me pull up the Qs, and so this was my upward count. Okay, so I do believe we are in an ABC to the upside, which means that this C wave is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then almost kind of hit this one, but it just pulled back a little bit more. But I think the fifth wave can be done because this would be your fourth wave of the fifth. And then if we kind of match up with this channel, which is where my box is that I would like it to turn at, because this is the top of the fourth, I would like it to kind of end up inside the channel. Why can I move this? Here we go. C would be over there, and this fifth does not want to move. Whatever. All right, so the C is kind of where I would like it to end up over here, is just hitting this channel somewhere in between here and then reversing. Okay, and then that would be, you would go back to the count of the S&P, where this would be your A, B, C, D, the upside. That would be your B wave of a complete retracement, and then you would start your C. So that's my initial count right now as is. And yeah, obviously if it starts breaking the fourth wave pivot, I will kind of reevaluate what's going on. But I do think there's a lot of selling pressure up here that needs to get sorted before anything else can happen. All right, so this is the DXY or the dollar index, and this one is a pretty nice count. I was kind of expecting it to not break this second wave, but it did. So that is a deeper B, but it could have already found its floor. So I'm expecting an ABC the upside. So this would be your A, then you'd have your ABC for your B, and then you come back down for your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the C. So that's kind of what is expected, but we really need it to, obviously the confirmation of this would be for breaking the fifth wave, right? That's how you know your C would be getting somewhere. But if we kind of go down to the 240, I believe, maybe a little bit lower. Yeah. So this can be your floor of this one. Okay, so then I would expect it to kind of do like a full on count up. So maybe you'd have your 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you probably have like 5, and then it might come back down for a 1, 2, 3 or an ABC down to the fourth, and then it kind of go up from there. So I don't think it's going to break the fifth anytime soon. If it does, awesome, but I think this one could kind of take a minute and bounce around for a little bit, and especially with like everyone trading in the yuan, it might get a little bit sticky for the dollar index, so it could take a lot longer than anticipated. But I do think that this one is headed up overall. Okay, which that means it would bring down the stock market if this gets stronger. Again, we'll kind of see the levels I have that are important to break are the 103.38. That'll be this pivot right here, and then I have the 104, which would be this pivot. And that kind of been a ricochet for a lot of things. So those would be my two areas that I would look for to break and bounce off of. So maybe this 3 goes all the way up and then ricochets off that. And then this fifth ends at 104. But those are my areas that I would look for to start breaking. All right, so this is, let's go back to the daily. All right, so this is our technology sector. All right, so this is the exact same as the Qs. So obviously I was taking a lot more time to label this, but I do believe that we have our B, our fifth, and our fifth, okay, of our B. So this A is what we were kind of counting. This other fifth was the fifth of the fifth wave. So I do believe that this is running out of gas, okay? Now, I also think that this pivot is going to break a little bit. All right, I think it is going to have a huge fake out where it comes up, it gets through that. A lot of people start being like, oh, we're back in an uptrend, and then it gets absolutely rug pulled coming back down for this C. So that's kind of my thing on technology. And then let me jump into Apple, just because this is what I was expecting for quite some time. I was honestly doubting that it would get up there. Now I'm kind of doubting it turning around. So it's just kind of a little bit of a roller coaster. But yeah, as long as you trust the system, everything kind of works out. So this one, I had this one labeled for a pretty long time. So you can go check any of the other market updates. These lines have been here. All right, I even called this buy. I didn't take the buy, but yeah, I am calling a sell now. And so this one won't have, like, it cannot break the B wave. It cannot break at all in order for it to stay in this channel. So that's kind of what I'm expecting it to happen. Maybe this is like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 to the downside, but I would like it to stay in this channel and then, yeah, just reverse off of this area. All right, Microsoft is pretty much the same thing. I'm expecting the 295 area to hold and have this one like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside for this C wave. I believe this is going to hold. I think it's going to break its fourth wave, but I think it's going to get stuck in this 295 area just because this one is almost identical to the Qs itself. And NVDA. So this one it's actually been a lot stronger than anticipated. So I never got filled here, but it is just leaving area after area. So I do believe that this is a fourth wave, and then this would be your fifth. So it'd be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would bring you up to the top of the second wave, and then I would be shorting at 286. Okay, and so this one is kind of like playing whack-a-mole at this point. This one's not trading by any rules whatsoever, just because this A wave is the one that came up to correct the fourth pretty much. So this one was going to go farther. However, we did get this extended fifth that I wasn't really anticipating. So I am taking the top of the second, but that would be like the 300 area around there. That's my new area that I would try a reversal at. And again, these are calling tops. Like obviously the best thing you can do is you wait for it to come up, it comes back down and starts breaking the pivots. So that would, in this case, that would be either the fourth wave or the second wave of this fifth wave. That would be the smart thing to do, but the cheap thing to do would try to be called tops. So that's what I'm going to do. This one is, I think, the third top that I'm going to try to call in NVDA. So not super accurate in this one. This one is pretty wild. A lot of option trades on it. So yeah, a little bit harder to read, but obviously you can just wait for the confirmation and then kind of be good. But I am expecting a down overall. All right, and Cisco is one I've been waiting for quite some time. So again, this A wave broke the fourth. All right, so that's not super great, but I had this count for quite some time since it wasn't going to stop at the fourth. Then you go to the second, which the second has an absolute fat area sitting at it that did have some breaks on it. So this broke these pivots, this pivot, and this pivot. Okay. So these are some pretty strong areas. So I am dropping a trade on as soon as this gets up. But yeah, stay tuned for the trade video for this one, because I've been waiting for this one for quite some time. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I started making videos somewhere in here, and I'm pretty sure this existed on the very first video. All right, and so this is Qualcomm, and I want to show this because one, I'm in a trade, and two, so obviously I've been looking at things, measuring stuff, so just kind of ignore all the lines except for these two. So this was my stop loss that I had up there, and the reason why this was my stop loss was because one, it had this area sitting on top of it, so it could pull a Qs and just break the pivot areas and then reverse from here. But I also like the S&P look. You have, here's your tops, here's your neckline, and then something like that. So I do think that this is a head and shoulders. I really like this area. So even if I do get stopped, I will wait a little bit longer, just because I was taking a lot of kind of information at this, and I would like it to stay inside of this bound right here. So, well, that's the C wave. This would be your 2. So I would like it to stay inside the channel here, which would just be my confirmation that this is a valid trade. Okay. I mean, it's pretty much the exact same as the S&P. So that is what I'm anticipating, is you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside, your reversal of a B, C to the upside, zigzag, and then you kind of go hit your third wave. So I really like this setup. I'm not doing anything with this trade. I'm just going to let it run. If this channel breaks and the C wave pivot breaks, then yeah, I will then get out. And because that means the entire market, the S&P probably broke, and I have to reevaluate the entire market. All right, this is IBM. So IBM is just ranging out, so I'm not expecting anything too crazy. I just want to show that these two massive flags exist. So again, that shows me a lot of selling pressure up here, that people are getting out at these prices. So just kind of a confirmation that there is selling pressure. And this is the kind of wanted to throw everything out of whack. This is ADI, and as you can see, this one broke to all-time highs. So go to month. All right, and so you can kind of count this however you would like, but I like this count specifically. So I'm gonna take this as, and you can do like, this is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 towards on the 5th wave right now, but I'm going to start from back here. So this would be my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of a 1. Here's my ABC of a 2, and then it would be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. Okay, so you can kind of line that up however you would like. Whether you want, this doesn't count as your 4th and this is your 4th, that's kind of what I'm trying to accomplish with it. It's kind of the cleanest count, but either way, when you count this, I believe you do have like your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of your 3. So this would be your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you kind of, either way you look at this, I believe that this is the 5th wave. Okay. So with that being said, if we go down to here, we need to decide what this is. Okay. So if this is our 5th wave, we know that's an impulse, which means you probably could do like a 1, 2, maybe either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this has to be a smaller count like that, or this is your 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so either way, I think it's going up a lot. It is showing a lot of buying pressure, so I don't know exactly what they got going on in their stock. Yeah, this one is super strong, which kind of throws off everything's coming down. But yeah, I just wanted to show this, just kind of say heads up, there is some strength in here. All right, and this one is ADP. So if we kind of look from afar, I mean, you can kind of see exactly what I'm trying to do here of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, which means this ABC would look like that, which is your head and shoulders. Like, without a doubt, head and shoulders if this B wave comes up pretty strong. Now, what do we have in here that can reverse this B wave? All right, so if we look on a higher time frame, say the weekly, this turns into a really nice flag. We go to the weekly, there it is, extremely nice flag with the wicks pointing down. All the wicks are down, which means that there's a wall of orders up here. So you could take it at the top of this area, where that would be where my orders would probably be. And then, yeah, you just don't want to break the pivots. So this one's waiting, but I just want to kind of show that this head and shoulders formation is forming pretty damn nicely. All right, and so this is the healthcare sector, so obviously starting out with the XLV. So this one, I do believe that it is trending to the downside. However, this pullback, I really like this pullback. You know, I'm hoping we can get a little bit deeper in here. I'll kind of start showing some of the stocks inside, but yeah, really nice area here. Love the little dojis that are chilling right here. Love the wicks facing down. So this one is, I might even just take a trade on the XLV because I really like this setup. All right, and so all of these are going to be kind of on higher time frames. So this is a weekly of United Health Group. This, I believe we got our double top right here. So I've been kind of following where it comes up. It has a super skinny move up and then it kind of rounds off, and then these normally go back down. So really like this setup, but I don't know exactly if this is its fifth over here or if this is a 1, 2, 3 and this is our fifth. So this would be our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of our 3. A lot of questions still need to be answered, but I just really like the setup of this one. I like the formation of it so far. It hasn't broken anything. That's what this 450 area is for, but as soon as it does, I mean, this one could fall for a minute on a correction of an ABC correction. And I think healthcare is the laggers. I think tech is ending its B wave to the downside, and I think the consumer staples and utilities are leading, where it's almost done with its C wave. So those I think will turn around first, and then the healthcare sector is going to be the laggers, where it's just now starting its A wave. Okay, so that's how I think it's going to play out. It doesn't have to, but that's kind of what I'm just reading off the chart. As another example, this is LLY. All right, so this is a weekly chart, and so this is what I mean by just starting its A. So this fourth over here is going to be an ABC, whether we like it or not. And I do believe that this is a 1, 2 of an A move. Okay, so these are my laggers. Obviously there's a fifth wave, so there's light at the end of the tunnel, but I am heavily favored to the downside right now, and I think I'm really early on this one. So obviously it could break these and keep going up, and I would still be waiting for the ABC to the downside, but I do think that this one will start coming down, and then as soon as we start breaking, it'll kind of accelerate, just because there'll be more confirmation of it smashing through EMAs, SMAs, and then pivots. So it'll kind of get everybody on board with this. All right, and this is XLF, or the financial sector. Let me go to the daily. So this one is pretty much the exact same as last week. Everything is too far away to really do anything, so I'm just going to kind of quickly go over this one. I do believe that this is a 1 of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside for the C wave. Okay, so this one is farther behind a lot of the other ones. So like the consumer staples and utilities and materials, I believe this one is a little bit farther behind, which I mean makes a little bit of sense, but I do believe it is on its way down now. So I'm expecting this fourth to either start pulling back around to go down to the fifth of 1, or I need to recount this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside, and this is 1 right here, meaning this one, it can go all the way back up to the top of the second, okay, for this second wave. So I'm going to need some more information, but we'll obviously get that pretty quickly depending on what happens here. Yeah, and not really too worried about it, just because the trades are a little bit farther out on this. You have to do a lot of waiting. Well, actually, let me show you. This is Morgan Stanley. All right, so pretty much every single chart looks like this in finance. All right, and this one I drew quite some time ago, so just kind of bear with me for the accuracy of this. But I caught the top right here, so I was pretty happy about that. But I do believe that this is the one of two, so it'll kind of start rebounding, maybe make its little head and shoulders formation here. But I think this one will kind of be, it'll excite people being like, oh, it's not as bad as it seems, everything's all good and dandy, everything's all good, and then people start emptying again and they really get crushed. Like, I don't think this one was the worst of it. So just a heads up. But yeah, pretty much everything looks like this. Everything has to make a turn back around in order to take a trade. So just kind of waiting on these. All right, and this is the XLE. This one can go kind of either way. Either this is a fake out and it can go back up. I don't necessarily like that, but this can be a fourth, and it does get into the one, but I'm not a huge fan of that count. I do like to the downside, especially with the flags up in it, which will be right here. I do like the downside. Just want to say that the upside is still a valid count. So just a heads up on that. I am short some of the stocks inside, so I do have a bias to the downside, but it can go up, and then I'll just have to adjust pretty quickly, getting positions flipped around. But I do like the downside, and I'll kind of go through why. Yeah, so this is ExxonMobil. So obviously this is the big one, but I think this is the valid count where you kind of had head and shoulders, not really too kind of worried about that, but I do love this area right here. So I might pop a trade on that. I probably won't make it a public trade, but I'll probably pop a trade on that one just because it pretty much looks exactly like this guy where I'm in up here. Okay, and then I got tagged in here and then it made another flag. So I do like these formations. I do like the downside on these. How that looks for the fundamentals, I'm not too sure. This one is Oxy or OXY. This one is kind of my newer trade, and it's just a huge flag on like a monthly chart basically. So I believe I took this one on a 2-week. So I think someone big is selling out here, and then once the kind of everyone else gets wind of it, it should kind of fall a little bit. But yeah, we'll see. I could be wrong, but we'll see. All right, and this is the HES or HES Corporation. This is the exact same thing where it's it's just like a nice setup where you have like a 1, 2, maybe 3, 4 that comes back up and not into the 1, and then it pops back around. I really like these, and I think that this is the most plausible way that it could go, just because it has the least resistance. So not a whole lot keeping this one up. All right, and this is the XLU. So this is the utilities fund, and yeah, this one is pretty much like, well, you'll kind of see it coming up, but this one has these flags. I do believe that they're almost done with their C wave, but it's basically 1, 2, 3 flags that are sitting in here above it. So I don't think the easiest direction is up. Okay, I think the easiest direction is down. I do think that this is an ABC to the downside. I think that this head and shoulders will work out, which means it'll come pretty far down, but this one will be one of the first ones to flip back around, is the utility sector. Okay, so we saw where healthcare was kind of starting up here. It's way up here. All right, so it's just now getting into its kind of rhythm. Here they're almost out of it, so this will be our first sector to actually flip back around. But let me break this one open and kind of look for positions. So this is ticker symbol NEE, or Next Era Energy. It does need to come back up. So on the XLU we had those flags pretty high. This one I think needs to come back up to get it, but I wanted to show this count of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, just gorgeous count. Okay, so then if this isn't an ABC right here, well, let me do this. If this is maybe you got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for your A, okay, and that's already at the 4th wave. All right, then you'd have like maybe a little bit of sideways action, and then you'd go back up for your C. I think this is a very plausible count. Okay, so I do like this area up here. Might not take a trade on it, but I just wanted to kind of point out that this has some supply above it. So all right, and this is the Southern Company. So this one is not as pretty of a count. I do believe that this could be an ABC wave. So whether or not this is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of your 1, you go ABC 2, and then you hit your 3. I don't know, but I just want to show that this one is kind of sitting in an area that I would like for it not to break, is this pivot. So this one could go down. Other ones could wait a little bit to come up. So it's just kind of a mixed bag inside the XLU. And again, this is American Waterworks. I've had this kind of count up here for a little bit. Not sure exactly the count in this one. This one is strictly like trend basically. So I'm expecting a rebound off of this 200 EMA, and that's kind of my trade here. So I'm not going to take this one very long. I'll just kind of pop it on, and then as soon as the 20-day like gets mixed up with the 50, maybe the 100, that's when I'll get out. But yeah, there's a bunch of different kinds of trades that are active in here, so it should get pretty interesting. But yeah, just kind of, these are going to have to flip first. So I'm going to start looking for buys kind of on larger time frames to just kind of get a where I need to be thinking that this could go up. So kind of stay tuned for that. Should be able to kind of start finding those in the next couple weeks here. But yeah, energy is a super interesting one. All right, and so kind of to switch things up, this is the XLY, which I have doing its thing to the upside, okay? I don't know how that looks fundamentally for the upside, but I do think that this one is counting up, all right? I mean, it's a really nice count coming down. So it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for your fifth. So I do think that this one is counting super nice. So I wouldn't put it past it to make a C wave. Now, it doesn't have to go all the way up to the fourth. That's just kind of where I've been drawing stuff. If you see this channel of the second wave, it could come all the way back up to the top of the channel, and that would be fine as long as it breaks the top of the A and has a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get up there. That's all I really care about. I think these would be higher trades or higher risk trades. Yeah, just a heads up, this one I have counting to the upside. I do not know how far it's going to go. So this is Amazon, which obviously looks the identical as the XLY sector. So this one, it could be that this is a nice bull flag. Maybe you do get some positions on here. You buy some calls and let those ride. However, I do not know how far it could go. So this one might come out and it goes up, you come back down, you grab it on the fourth wave, and then your fifth wave is an absolute dinker, which just gets you up to the 116 area, and it might be more risk than you're willing to take. So I'm not too sure what I'm going to do here. I would like it to have a stronger move before I do anything. Maybe go up and get the 200 EMA, but yeah, I do think this one's down overall, and this is just your B wave, okay? So could get a little messy, but just a heads up. Okay, and this is Nike. So Nike, I got the C wave up. I think this A is pretty much done. I think we might have to come down a little bit farther. This one is my alternate count, but don't really worry about that one. But yeah, I do like the 140 area of where my C is going to end. Since this A did kind of blow through the fourth, I would like it to kind of get up to the 2. But yeah, we'll kind of see how that works later down the road. I just want to show this one I have up as well. So Starbucks, Starbucks I have a trade on, and the ticker symbol is SBUX. So this one I have an ABC going to the downside, okay? Here, this one looks like the S&P 500. So if you look at it, this would be your head and shoulders. I think this right wing is going to be finishing. So obviously this was my stop loss. I kind of explained it in the trade revision that I would be happy if it, as long as it stays below the pivot of the B, I'm going to be in this one. Yeah, I'm not super leveraged on it. It's not a huge position. But yeah, I am really confident in the count, so I like it. Couldn't really find a reason to get out of it, and yeah, I think my count is going to be pretty good. But obviously, we'll see, and you know, the market will humble you, but I'm ready to lose my entire position. That's kind of what my trade plan has been, coming from the Forex vibe. But yeah, we'll kind of see how this goes. All right, and this is Chipotle Mexican Grill. All right, so this one is a little bit, well, at least we'll get to have fun kind of drawing some lines here. So let's start from the beginning. This, I believe you got your 1, 2, count it however you want, 3, 4, 5. I believe that this is a 5 down, and this would be your A, okay? So let's go A, B, and then we'll drop down for C. Okay, and I'll redraw this channel here in a second, but I really like the count on this one. So this, let's do a triangle, and I'm gonna cut that a little bit as a fake breakout. You can kind of do really whatever you want to this. I think it's a triangle, which just means that I think we're gonna have a final move out. So once it pops out in the upwards direction, so I do believe it's going to break up, and as its final move, okay. So I think this one is going to turn around from there as the top of your B and come down, crashing down. I do think that follows the whole entire kind of vibe of the XLY. So yeah, I think this is extremely plausible. Obviously, it could break from right here to come down, but I do like this zigzag of an ABC for the B wave of the upside, and then have it come down on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the C wave. So really like the trade, but yeah, I think we're just kind of waiting. All right, and here we have the XLI, okay? And so for this one, obviously I had this X wave here, which means we're looking for a double zigzag, all right? But that means the A is still a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for this A, and then a zigzag up. I think that is a valid count, but yeah, I think we just got to be patient with it. It's pretty active inside though. So let's just jump right into it. Starting off with HON, or Honeywell International. This one is an ABC, but the B I think is done. Okay, and now we could kind of do this where you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 AB, which kind of goes along with this one, and then I think that's an extended B, but I'll have to kind of look that up. And but it can break the A, and then it comes up for the C wave, and then it starts going down. However, I do like a buy area in the 182. Okay, so this one could be bouncing a little bit where we might start coming up, or maybe like a 2 of our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we hit our 3. But I do like initially to the upside. Yeah, that's just my count. Nothing you can really take a trade off of, but yeah, we'll kind of see how this one goes. All right, and this one's Boeing. So Boeing never really got to the buy area, which really sucks, but it's whatever. Yeah, and we'll just kind of see how this one goes. I think this one does have a lot of potential to the upside. So yeah, if you're in it, just kind of hang tight. It's not showing like it's going to stop anytime soon. So this might be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have your 5, which might take you up to this 4th. So yeah, just kind of hang tight if you were in it, but I am positive on this one. All right, and this is RTX, and I do believe it's on the 3-day that we have this mega flag. All right, so recently I've been getting absolutely smacked in the mouth from trying to take these flags that don't break anything. Okay, but I really like the setups, I really like the counts, and I like, so I've been kind of trying to anticipate this downside for a minute, but I like these wicks. All right, pointing to the downside, and then they don't have any on top, basically. So I do like the fact that this is a nice little setup. You could call it a head and shoulders or whatever you want to do, but I like kind of the double top look. So I am super negative on this one. I really like this short, and it'll probably make my trade setup video. So just a heads up, keep an eye on this one. Okay, and this is Waste Management, or WM. So this one didn't really follow the drawing, but it's kind of the gist of it. All right, so if you watch the previous one, I'm pretty sure I had these lines drawn. I did not add them anytime recently, so I don't know when these were put on, but these have been on for a minute. So I just checked back in on this one, and I'm really liking the setup. So this one will probably have a trade going on it pretty soon, actually. So maybe this week, maybe we start off the week a little bit strong and then start to fall from there. But yeah, I do like this setup on WM, Waste Management. All right, and checking back in on General Dynamics, or GD. This one, again, didn't really follow the drawing, but you kind of get the gist of it. We are up in the area that I would like to short from, so I'm expecting it to kind of fall out of bed here. And yeah, if you want to say, oh, it could go up to this one to make your shoulder, I have no issues with that. But yeah, I do think this one is going down. The only thing that can really mess me up is the time frame. If this one takes a lot of time to do, I'll probably drop it and take the loss and then go get something a little bit more active. All right, and this is Train Technologies, or ticker symbol TT. So I do believe that this one we had a nice double top here. You got your kind of first A wave down. Maybe you pull back. Maybe this might be a B. But if you look at the 3-day, we are forming another flag right here. So I would like to see a break of the pivots and then it come back up. So this one I am going to wait on. Just a heads up that I think this one is turning back around. All right, and this is the material sector. So this one is a little bit confusing looking at. It kind of looks stupid, like the counts are just a little bit weird. Not a whole lot of confirmation anywhere, but let me kind of break this one open and show you why I think it's the C wave to the downside. All right, so this is MLM, which I really like this area. Okay, so this one can have a trade dropped on it, but yeah, this would be your 1, 2 of your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside for the C wave, kind of confirming the downside. A couple other charts show this pretty much exact same thing. However, this is the prettiest one to look at. So, all right, and this is ALB, pretty much the exact same thing. I'm not sure when I drew these lines, but this is the gist of it, where I would like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. But this one does need to come up just a little bit higher. So a little bit of a mixed bag. And then this is PPG Industries. This one, I had this one drawn for a little bit. I would like it to come up to the 146 area. But this one has to go up for quite some time. So again, it's a mixed bag. This one is a little bit confusing, but I do think that this one is a leader where this one might be the first one to turn around. So just a heads up, I don't think we're there yet, but we're getting close. All right, and here we go with the XLP, or the consumer staples. So this one, I had my little tops drawn here, and I do like the flags to the downside. So I think we're just coming back up to this area. I think we could turn around at any point in time. And yeah, we'll kind of jump into this one. And they all really look like this, so I'm just going to try to go pretty quickly through them. So this is PepsiCo. This one I have a trade on, but I kind of explained it in the review video that my ABC, I think I miscounted, but it also was a higher risk trade. But I'm not too worried about it. I do like this area right here, which will follow the S&P and it'll follow the XLP. So I do like this count still to the downside. Coca-Cola, pretty much the same thing. Your box would be up here, and then it might try to take a ricochet off this channel. I don't think it should break the top of the B, so this 1, 2 is still active as well. All right, and this is Kroger. So Kroger, I have going higher before lower. So this alert right here, this would be my box up here. Yeah, I wish this was like a little bit above these pivots, but if not, I have this one already marked out. So just a heads up on this one. I do think that this one can go a little bit higher. But yeah, I think overall it's to the downside. All right, and this is Clorox with the ticker symbol CLX. All right, and this is, again, we go to the upside. When we start hitting all these, probably flip back around and go back down to the downside. So yeah, just kind of pay attention to this. It's, not really a hard trade or anything. It's just more of a call out, more of a trend trade. I do think all this is going to flip, but yeah, I think it's going to be kind of a fake out and pretty hard to get through all this stuff. So downside, I think, is the path of least resistance. Cool. So that's all I really got for this week. Or if you want more in depth, you can watch the other market videos and kind of see the progress of my counting. Take it easy.